Hello, this is Julie back again with part 2 of our series on 3D decoupage designs. This episode I want to show you, start from where we left off on episode 1, so if you haven't seen that yet you should watch that first. This episode we're going to talk about how to get your new design that you created and make the cut exported so that it'll work in other software. Because these designs have textures in them, exporting as SVG is not a good option. So what we like to do, if we want to include just the texture lines that we created, if you recall, if you go to outline and you see that we've just got the outlines here, and these outlines are filled with pictures, but SVG files do not hold the pictures. So there are a couple different methods that we use to get these files into other software efficiently. So I will show you a few of those options. The first option is to select all, go to File, Export, Selection to Raster File. What this is going to do is it's going to create a picture file that you can use to print in your other software. If you use the PNG format, that will be the most efficient, with no background color, no shadow. It'll just be a nice, easy image to use in the other software. So we're going to save to file. Give the file a name. We'll call this 3D Decoupage Flower PNG and save it. Now by doing that, we'll be able to bring that image into any other software that has a good trace ability. So let's prepare for one other inevitability, and that is if the software you're taking it to does not want to trace your design, your picture image cleanly. To prepare for that, we're going to select everything, hold Control Shift and drag, and on this one we're just going to black it out. We'll send it to its own layer by clicking on the smaller of the two green plus icons, and then on the color box on that top layer where we just sent this, we're going to select black. Because the pictures will not transfer with it anyway, we're going to export this as an SVG. Now if you're exporting to use in Illustrator, Sure Cuts a Lot, eCal, puzzle software, you're going to want to change the size of this by 80%. To do that, make sure your gold lock icon is showing at the top of the screen, and type 80% in the width or the height field. And when you do that and press enter, your SVG file will be reduced by 80%. This is also true if you're taking it into Cricut Design Space. Now since with that selected, we can go to File, Export, Selection to SVG, and I'm going to call this 3D Decoupage Flower Black, as opposed to the one that might have the fill, and just save it. Once it's saved, we'll be able to bring both the picture image in and the SVG file in to other software. So let's go to Silhouette Studio. I've done this earlier, so I'm going to just delete that. First thing I want to do is open, and for file type, I'm going to choose PNG because that's the file we saved of the flower. I'm going to click on OK. Now, I could bring in the SVG, but it's harder to do that than to just simply trace this, click on it to select it, go to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th icon from the right to open the trace window, select the trace area, and trace the outer edges, and that's all. It's ready to do your print and cut as normal. You could resize first if you wanted to, but you see that the cutting lines are all here, the picture's here, and you can proceed as usual to do a print and cut. Very simple because it has a nice clean trace. I'm using Silhouette Studio version 2, which is a very old version, so it works in the old version, should work in the new just as well. The next software I'll show you is Cricut Design Space. Be sure to sign in, click on Create New Project, and we'll go to Upload Images, and for this we're going to use Basic Upload, Browse, and we're going to browse for that PNG file. Because the PNG file does not have a background in it, it should be very easy to bring in to Cricut Design Space. You notice that it has the checkered background. I'm going to select Complex Image and Continue. And I've got a preview here that looks good, so I'm going to continue. Save it. And you see the cut lines look good. Then I'm going to scroll down, select it, insert image, and I'll need to resize because the pictures still come in very small, but you cannot do anything larger using Chrome than 5.5 inches. So you can turn on your grids clicking on that corner square, and if you line it up with the 1 inch, you could go to 6.5 inches, and that's about as big as you're going to be able to do it. I think I forgot to select print and cut, but I think it's ready to go here, so I click on Go. The image is here, and there's a print and go option here. You click on print, select your properties, and in your printer properties always I use the best photo and select the proper type of paper that you're using, and then click on OK, so it'll print your designs with the lines. And don't be alarmed that there's extra outline around the edge. It's just giving your design a bleed so that it will not have any white edges. You could turn that bleed off if you wanted to, but I recommend that you go ahead and use it. And then after it prints, you're ready to go ahead and put that printed image on your mat, load your mat, and then go to cut it. Cuts very well. The other software that a lot of my friends use is the Pazzle software for the Pazzles cutter, and that technique is even a little more different. So I'm going to show you. The new InView software doesn't have a really good trace option yet, so to compensate for that, I'm going to bring in both the SVG and the PNG file and line them up. So I go to File, Import, Image, go find that same PNG file, open, and then I'm going to go to File, Import SVG. I'm going to find that black SVG file that I exported from Make the Cut. So there's the black SVG. I open it, and then I'm going to line it up with the picture, and then I can right-click, arrange, and move to back so that now I can see the design, and I can go on to cut, and you can see the cutting line. So I can do a print and cut with this, and or I can just do a cut. Of course I would want to print first. So selecting the print and cut right here, print and cut, is important, but also I neglected to show you that you should display the registration mark before you print, and you should always do a print preview before. You see that some of the edges are cut off here, so I don't have 12 by 12 selected in this, and you're supposed to have, if you're not doing 12 by 12 but doing 8.5 by 11, you're going to need to change the mat size in this software. In the Pazzles Pro software, or the Inspiration Studio software, you do have options to trace, or you can do what we just did in InView, import the SVG, then import the picture, line them up, and cut. But another option we have here is to import the image. So we'll go back and get that PNG file and bring it in here. In this software we have a contour option, which is the third icon on the left from the bottom. What you do is you click on or near the shape that you would like to outline or add cut lines to. I like to do an inline to get it inset a little and add the path. On these that have all these inside lines, I don't want those inside lines, so I'm going to click just outside the shape, change it to inline, and add the path. So you see the path added there. Same with each one of these. I'll move it to inline, add path, and as the path is added, you see that it turns black, so you know where it is. Now this software does have an automatic trace function that we could use as well. On these, since they don't have any inside lines, I can just click on them and add the path, click, inline, and add path, and then I can click on my colored shape, right click, and send the pictures to the front, and now I have pictures to print by going to File and Print, and then I can cut the project, and you'll see that I have the cutting lines there. Before I cut it, I would probably want to add the registration marks, or crop marks are called, here under the File menu, and the crop marks would help do the print correctly. So before you print, then you want to make sure you add the crop marks in the correct place. So that's how I would get these designs. Those are the options that I have when I'm exporting. So changing the SVG file to black helps to import it cleanly into other software. And most software, if it doesn't have a good trace, you're going to need the picture and you're going to need the SVG. If you have a good trace, you just need the picture. So if I go into Pazzles software, for example, select all and delete, it's good to add a crop mark first if you're going to do print and cut. Shows up down here. And I would go to, this is Inspiration Studio 2014, again, import image, and get my PNG file. It's in here now. I could resize it. I'm going to make sure that it's within the crop marks, and my page size should correspond to my printer paper size. I do have a 12 by 12 printer, so I could print this on 12 by 12 and then cut it on my Puzzles view. Now we have under the option to do auto trace on the right side. So if I click on that and then select the color box and click on here, I want to just select all the lines and make them all black. There we go. So this window is showing everything black. And that gives me the cut lines. So again, we have options. Click on OK. Then I can line up all of these cutting lines with the images that they go to, and making sure, zooming in, making sure that they're all lined up straight. Then send that to the back so that we can see the colors and go ahead and print. You can go to File, Print, Preview, and you can see what's going to print on the paper you have it set up for. After you print with the crop mark, then you can go ahead and load that printed image on your mat and cut. So I hope that answers questions about exporting your decoupage design from Make the Cut. We'll continue in another video on how to do other types of images. So thanks for watching. Talk to you later.